Welcome back to the life of what's left of it, Vitellius.
It's so true. So true. Yes.
Big Daddy Ray Harvey Harris.
Yeah.
How
Junior.
are you today?
Oh, doing great. We've spent a very comfortable 36 minutes together trying to work out some tech stuff, but we're there. We saw, we came, we conquered. So feeling pretty good about this. What about you?
Oh, I'm great. Very happy
Good.
to not be living in your country.
Yes.
So just although both of my adult sons will be in your country, will be in you in the next week or two, by the sounds of
Right.
it.
They're risk takers. I like that.
Hunter's going to Austin, Texas for an event and then to LA, and Taylor's going to LA to visit his girlfriend and do some business over there now that he has a business visa. They both just dropped 5 mil, got themselves a
Yeah.
Trump gold
Because
card.
good for them.
You
Make sure
get,
they're caught up on all their
if I
shots.
understand it correctly, for the 5 mil, you get
Right.
the ability to live and work in the United States, fast track to citizenship,
Yes.
and the ability to have sex with Melania, whatever you want,
Right. And gold
because
sneakers. So,
membership at Mar-a-Lago,
right. Right.
and
Yeah.
as much
She
Trump coin as you can eat.
exactly, and I think, and I can't remember the details. I think she has to wear the gold shoes while you're making love to her. Not sure. I'm going to have to get back to you on that one.
Well, we're at episode 14 of Vitellius. Sort of surprised it's lasted this long,
Yeah.
but there's a lot going on, and in fact, in this episode, I think we're going to talk about some of the stuff that's going on outside of Italy. We've been talking a
Yes.
lot recently about what's going on inside of Italy, but as it turns out, these quote unquote barbarians,
Well. Yeah.
when they see an opportunity, they take an opportunity.
Right.
And in the year 69, your favorite year, as we've said many times, there's a lot of stuff going on in Rome. The barbarians in the
Yeah.
provinces, much like many countries around the world, looking at the United States right now, are
Yeah.
going, you know what?
Oh,
While they're
opportunity.
distracted,
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
might be
rebels are going to rebel. So. Yeah, but you're right. It is an opportunity. There's been a couple of Germanic tribes that have been wronged over the years, and they're seeing an opportunity as Rome once again, for the umpteenth time, falls into civil war. So again, um, just take advantage of opportunities when they come, and that's exactly what's going to happen to the north of Rome today.
so the umpteenth. So we had
Yeah,
uh, we
umpteenth.
had
Umpt-
first
sorry,
teenth Galba, second
right?
teenth Otho,
Yeah,
13th Vitellius, and the
right.
umpteenth.
Vespasian.
Is that German? No, it's deux, trois, quatre. That's French. Uno, due,
I think we're on to something here. The new
tre,
language,
quattro is
the
Italian.
language.
Umpteen. Yeah,
This is the
it's
language of
Latin.
rebellion.
It's
It
Latin. It's
is.
the
This is
umpteenth.
exactly. Sorry.
Yeah. So a guy by the name of Gaius Julius Civilis,
Right.
uh,
Who's
probably
anything
not
but
his
civil. Right.
probably not his birth name, but a name that was given unto him at some
Right.
point,
Right.
was a
Could,
member of the Batavian royal family. Tell everyone about the Batavians, the Batavi, Ray.
well, here's what I know. So, as the Rhine River exits and goes into the North Sea, on the right hand side of that, or the eastern side, is the Batavians, which is a decently large tribe. To the left of them is the other tribe that kind of starts things off. I don't know how to say it. Is it the Canafates? I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but so there's another tribe. But yeah, this is a tribe that it's like a tiger by the tail for Rome. It's like they don't make them pay an annual tribute, but the Badavates have got to loan men to Rome when they need auxiliaries and things like that. And of course, Vitellius, in a very rough patch right now, is sending men to the north, to the Netherlands and German border, trying to say, "Hey, we need some recruits." And again, they see this as an opportunity. You need us. You must be in trouble. Maybe we don't help you, and see what happens. So again, it's the Germans looking for an opportunity that they very rarely get.
Hmm. The name Batavi apparently comes from the words for good and island in
Oh yeah.
sort of Germanic roots. Batavio, Batavo. Um, there's a place in the Netherlands today called Batavia or
Hmm.
Batuva, which is the fruit basket of the Netherlands. And this may have been where the Batavians came from. Yeah, they sort of split off from the Chatty
Yeah.
tribe, Germanic Chatty tribe, because they just talk too much,
To
drove them nuts. After they were like, "Fuck, these people
would you
will not."
shut the fuck?
They're like
Sorry.
podcasters who take
Oh, the worst. Yeah, the worst.
20 years to tell a fucking story. They just will not shut up. So Civilis, who was a member of the Batavian royal family, led a revolt against the Romans in the year 69, and it flowed over into the year 70.
Right.
And we know that there's a lot of this sort of rebellion going on against Rome at the moment. Of course, Vespasian has spent the last few years down in Judea,
Oh yeah.
stomping on the Jews down there. That's not even over yet.
No, it's
He's sort of
not.
we'll talk
Yeah.
about that over the course of the next episode or two, but it's sort of on a pause at the moment
Yeah.
because the Jews are fighting each other, and
Right. That's bad for
Vespasian was a
business.
big fan of Napoleon. You remember
Yeah.
Napoleon once
He,
said, "Never
he said,
interrupt an enemy when he's making a mistake."
right. Yes.
So he's like, "Hey, my name is
Yeah.
Paul, and this is between y'all. I got shit to do back in Rome.
Unless y'all cause me
You go at
trouble.
it."
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what this is? This is imperial whack a mole. You've got the Batavians, you've got the Canonifates, you've got some others that we'll get to, maybe, maybe not. We've got the Jews. I mean, it's literally imperial whack a mole. Why Vespasian wants to be leader, I have no idea, but I think you touched on it a couple of episodes ago where you said he's not so much doing it for him as he's doing it for his kids who can, rule for years where he's an older man. But again, there are a lot of potential fires. There's always fires when you're an empire, but if anybody can handle it, Vespasian can, and he's going to get an opportunity to do that.
Now, the Batavians had been loyal to Rome for decades at this
Yeah,
point. They were considered some of the best military people that you can get your hands on.
right.
The They were very warlike people. I mean, they're
Mhm.
Germans at the end of the day, and there's Germans. I don't know if you know this, Ray.
Right.
I
They
don't know if
lean
you've
towards, yeah,
there's this World War. I don't know how much you know about World War II, Ray,
not much.
but the Germans had a role in
Yeah,
that
yeah.
and World War One, and before
I
that,
believe I
many
believe you're
wars.
right. Yeah. Well,
Mm,
see, not, but and you touched on this a second ago. In this area, what is modern day Netherlands, I mean, there's just a bunch of Germans around in the same area, and they really 100% don't trust each other. Forget the Romans for a second; they don't really trust each other. So there's a lot of internecine warfare, if that's the correct term. And so the internecine,
internecine.
thank you. Their fighting skills stay sharp by having these tribes go at each other every once in a while, but they all more or less bow down to Rome. But again, here's an opportunity. They're going to start chatting to each other. One leader is going to invite other leaders to a banquet in their honor, but instead of killing each other, they're going to go, "Hey, this is our opportunity," because this is like what September or not September, it's sometime in 69, and they see an opportunity to maybe take Vitellius down.
Yes, not just Vitellius. Basically, they want to break away from Rome. They see this as their opportunity to make a play for independence, and
Exactly.
they weren't only a great soldiers; they
Mhm.
were skilled horsemen, boatmen, and swimmers.
Oh, they were special forces. They could do it all. They could do it all, and they did.
They had perfected a
Mhm.
technique for swimming across rivers wearing full armor and weapons, and then being able to dam up a river using their shields. So you
Damn.
think think of a
Sorry.
testudo where you would form like a tortoise shell around the
Right.
troops using your shields. They would do that,
The
but
water.
in the water, Tacitus says
The water version.
they they had also at home a select body of cavalry who practiced with special devotion the art of swimming so
Right.
they could stem the stream of the Rhine with their arms and horses without breaking the order of their squadrons.
Right, right. So let's go ahead and role play this. Okay, so Cam, I know this is your first day. You're on rehearsal. You're very excited about this. This is easy.
Very
We've been
excited,
doing it for
very
years.
excited.
All I
I
need you
can't
to
wait.
do.
This is
Okay,
like the
and
highlight of my life to this point.
tell you what, and I'm gonna. No one's looking. I'm gonna give you a cheat code. Okay, here's what you do. I need you to put on this full heavy armor,
Mhm.
jump into the water,
Got it.
and here's the trick:
Mm.
keep your head. However, I don't know how. It's magic. Keep your head above water. You're gonna be fine. Okay, go out. I'm gonna push you in. Ready and go. I mean, forget Michael
Yeah,
Phelps. These guys, fuck. I mean, heavy and
and
their
with
weapons
your
and their horse
horses,
and the horse. Right,
yeah,
exactly. You
it's
know what?
crazy shit.
Who deserves the real credit for that? Not the warriors, the horses. If the horses can swim with these guys on their back with heavy armor, aren't the horses the real heroes here? I think we
Yeah.
should ask ourselves that. Anyway,
And we all know, because we've been paying attention, that since the days of Augustus, the emperor has had a Germanic bodyguard. Well, guess who provided the Germanic bodyguard up
ah,
until 68 when
right.
Nero was like, I don't like the look of these Germans. Um, they they were the Batavians that provided
Yes,
the imperial bodyguard. That's how elite these guys were. They were the
right.
elite of the elite. And the entire Batavian population is estimated by modern historians to, at
Mhm.
its peak, have been about 35,000 during these years.
Damn.
And they supplied about 5,000 auxiliaries. So during the
Wow.
entire Julio Claudian period,
Hmm.
over 50% of all Batavi males
Right.
who reached military age, 16 years, would have enlisted in the auxilia. So
That's an
that was
incredible
basically
percentage.
that was your
Yeah.
career path. If you were a Batavian male,
Yeah.
you had a 1 in 2 chance of ending up fighting in the
you're,
Roman
you're gonna
military.
spend some time with the Romans. Now, I did read something. Let me ask you, and I'm sorry, I apologize. I mean to cut you off. I did read that Civilius, and because he's not very civil, maybe we can call him syphilis. I don't know. I'm throwing that out there, but I thought maybe
Syphilis.
Civilius had been with the Romans on and off so long, I think for a couple of decades, that he actually might have known and or worked with Vespasian. I don't know if you have any more on that, but again, this, like you said, this is a Roman name. He knows people. He knows how they do things. He knows how they fight. So if he turns against them, he could be a worthy adversary.
Yeah, well, there is suggestions in the ancient sources that he
Mm,
was at least trying to position himself as being on friendly terms with Vespasian.
part of the ruse.
Um,
Yeah.
maybe,
Right.
but it wasn't that friendly. Wasn't friendly enough that he was,
No. I'm still going to kill Romans. Yeah.
yeah, even post Vespasian. Now,
Exactly.
getting back to the Batavi, they were 0.05% of the total population of the empire in the year
Right.
23 CE,
Mhm.
but supplied 4% of the total auxilia. So about 80
Yeah.
times their proportionate share they
C
provided. So they were
cannon fodder.
the
But
best and the bravest.
right. Let's go with that. They had an
For
obligation.
the Romans used the words for the Batavi fortissimi, the strongest, and validissimi, the most courageous.
Okay. Alright.
Valor, validissimi. So, not the guys you want to turn against you, really.
No, no. Whatever it takes, keep them on our side. But again, I
And
mean,
what
go ahead.
what the
Sorry.
emperors didn't know is that for generations, the Batavi emperor, yeah, they had an
Mhm.
emperor, kept him secret, had been placing a chip inside of their brains
Right. It sounds
This
right.
early
Possible.
version of Elon Musk's Neuralink,
Right.
and at some point he just had to go execute Order 66,
And
and
boom.
they all
Yeah.
turned on their Jedi
Yeah.
Roman masters.
But you made a good a point a second ago. You've heard of the expression "two birds, one stone." They could get a whole fucking flock with one stone. One, they can wipe out some Romans, which I think we can all agree is a good thing. Two, they can probably get independence, and one of the other smaller chieftains is going to use it. He's going to use this confrontation against Rome to rise to the rank of chief. And again, and you said on this a second ago, and the master stroke, if you will, is that they're going to pretend, maybe or maybe not, we're not really sure, but they're going to at least give mouth or words to that they're on Vespasian side. I'm only attacking the Romans because they're with Vitellius, and I'm a Vespasian guy. So at least they've got political coverage. But the point is, they could get a lot out of this, and at the very end of the day, like everybody else, they just want to be left alone and independent. And here's an opportunity for that to happen.
I guess it's more Order 69
Six, right?
rather than Order 66.
It still works. Still works.
Yeah, yeah.
69 him to death. I think it
That's
was
what I say
is
to
how he said it. Right.
Chrissy at least once a week in bed. I go, execute Order 69.
And she's like, damn it,
She's
Cameron.
like, if you just blew it, like, night's over, turn the lights on. So
Yeah.
just, you
Yeah.
have to fucking be a nerd, don't
Right.
you? You just,
What yeah. What Heather says to
no,
me,
I am your father. She's like, oh, okay, now you're turning me on again.
Daddy,
No.
Daddy, yeah. Heather goes, Ray, for the last time, Star Wars is not foreplay. I don't know how many times I have to tell you this. Anyway.
A bit more on the Batavi. They were exempt from tributes,
Mm-hmm.
but they were obliged to supply a large number of men for the army. And as we will see, this started to get out of control. It's one of the reasons why they turned on the Romans is the Romans were just getting a
Yeah.
little bit over the top with all of their civil wars. We need more. We need more. A bit like Trump
Yes.
and tariffs. It was just like, we need
Yeah.
more. More tariffs. More
Or
tariffs. We
take
need more tariffs. Yeah,
yeah,
we need more
bigger,
money.
big, beautiful tariffs. And take
Mm,
let's take everybody's land. But anyway.
mm. So, Tacitus, speaking of syphilis, says the Batavians, while they dwelt on the other side of the Rhine, formed a part of the tribe of the Chatti. Driven out by domestic revolution,
Assholes.
they took possession of an uninhabited district on the extremity of the coast of Gaul and also of a neighboring island, surrounded by the ocean in front and by the river Rhine in the rear of and on either side.
Mm-hmm.
He says that Civilis had served 25 years in the Roman army and played a significant role in the Roman invasion of Britain in 43 and then its subjugation over the next 20 years.
Right.
Now, Syphilis had got himself in trouble with the Romans a few times. In the year 66, when he executed Order 66,
Right.
the first version of it, he and his brother, it was called Paulus, I think, were both arrested. His brother was a prefect, and they were both arrested on accusations of treason
Right.
by the governor of Germania Inferior at the time. The governor ordered their execution. The brother was killed,
Mm-hmm.
but Syphilis Julius was sent to Rome in chains to be judged by Nero,
Yeah.
which suggests that the brother Julius was a Roman citizen
Mm-hmm.
and was entitled to have his case heard by the emperor in person, but his
Right.
brother Paulus wasn't, as
So
opposed to Saint Paul, according
yes,
to Catholic tradition, was sent to the emperor to be tried, heard,
that sounds right.
because he was a
Yeah.
Roman citizen.
Yes.
Now, while he was in prison awaiting his hearing with Nero,
Mm-hmm.
Nero was overthrown
Ooh.
and committed suicide. But if you check the dates, they were arrested in 66.
Right.
Nero died in 68.
Right.
So for 2 years, give or take, depending on when in the year he was. I think Nero died around about July.
Yeah.
Um, so for a year and a half, 2 years, he was imprisoned in Rome, waiting his hearing with Nero. Because, as we know, Nero was busy.
He's busy. I'm pipping, I'm bopping, I'm doing poetry, I'm writing songs, I'm singing. And he's busy. But as you know, and I don't mean you personally because I don't want to besmirch your mate. As you know, syphilis is patient. Syphilis finds a way to survive. So he hung in there.
Always
Syphilis.
comes back. Syphilis is always coming back.
It finds a way. It really does, and it bites you right in the ass when you least expect it. So, but the point is, he survived.
I want to hear Jeff Goldblum instead of saying nature finds a way. It's like syphilis
We can get AI. We can get AI
finds a
to
way.
do that.
Yeah, we'll get AI.
At this point,
I'll
right?
edit it in later. Yeah.
There you go. Where were
So
we?
Galba was then proclaimed emperor. Of course, he acquitted syphilis. He didn't have a
Yes.
problem with syphilis. He was
No.
like, you
Love.
know what,
Love it. Love
love
syphilis.
syphilis, love the syphilis,
They hate the Drake, but they love the syphilis.
love the Drake. Now he allowed him to return home. Now we know that Galba had been the governor of Germania Superior at one
Hmm.
point. So,
Ooh.
not sure how well he knew the Batavi from Germania Inferior. He did appoint
Right.
Vitellius to governor Germania Inferior.
Yeah.
So, he may have had some sort of relationship or knowledge of, or just didn't give a fuck about the charges against
Right.
syphilis.
Right.
You know, if syphilis was accused of treason
By
against
Nero.
Nero,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
I mean, maybe treason against Rome, but he was like, well, it was really against Nero. And so he's
So
like, you know
I'm
what?
good.
Fuck
I'm good.
Nero. So, yeah, he's back.
I'm okay
But
with that. Right.
once he gets back to Germany, syphilis gets arrested again,
Mm,
this time on the order of Vitellius,
right.
because Vitellius had been sent there by Galba, and there are demands for Syphilis's execution from the Roman legions.
Right. They don't trust him, I believe, at this point. I mean, syphilis is suspect at best, given his behavior, I think.
Yeah, Syphilis is
You can't trust
you can't
syphilis.
trust Syphilis, so he uh, he gets arrested again. Now,
Right.
meanwhile, Galba
Yes.
disbands the German bodyguards
Right.
uh, um, because he didn't trust their loyalty to Nero.
Exactly. Yeah.
It
It's a
wasn't
new
Nero
day.
who disbanded them; it was Galba. Yeah, he's like, yeah, fuck these guys.
Yeah. I can
Now,
understand you.
the Batavi were offended by the accusations that they couldn't stay neutral to a
Right.
new emperor, and things go from bad to worse. Now, the fact that Syphilis and his brother had been arrested twice in a span of a few years
Yeah.
suggests that there was already some conflict between the Batavi and the Romans in
Hmm.
Germany. When Galba disbands the German bodyguards, this just makes it worse. Relations collapse between the 8 Batavi cohorts and their parent legion, which was the 14th Germania.
Yeah.
And apparently, some skirmishes broke out. Fairly serious skirmishes broke out between the two sides on at least 2 occasions.
Right. Well, from what I know, and I don't want to mess with your timeline too much, but Syphilis invited the 8 Batavian cohorts not once, but twice. He's like, look, things are breaking down at Rome. There's probably going to war. Whose side do you want to be on? And eventually, those 8 Batavian cohorts do say, screw this. There was some wrangling about pay, but they eventually leave. They make their way north. Some Roman troops try to block them, but they end up skirmishing and fighting. And I think the Romans suffer some serious casualties. So again, they have made their decision, and Syphilis is going to get even more allies on his side. So what started out as as a what disgruntled tribe becomes this center point for a true rebellion against Rome, and other tribes and other regions are going to join them as well. So Syphilis knows what he's doing. He's pulling this together. And again, he really does see this as his one true opportunity to make so many good things happen for him and for his tribe as well.
I managed in my research to find a recording
Oh, thank
of,
Christ.
yeah, of, speaking of which, a recording of Syphilis trying to get his people to make a decision.
Have you made your decision for Christ?
And as we will see,
Right.
probably in the next episode, there's actually, he was right, because Vespasian, as it turns out, was the template for Christ.
There we go.
Yeah. And I'm not even
No,
kidding.
no,
I'm
you're
not
not.
even kidding. We will.
He is going to cure. He is going to lay hands upon. He is.
Mhm.
He is. He is
Declared the Messiah.
the Messiah,
Like,
the chosen one. Yeah.
I wish I'd known all of this when I made my documentary. I mean,
Right.
I
You could have
knew
added.
bits of it. I knew
Yeah.
that Josephus had referred to Vespasian as the Messiah, but I didn't know these other
Right.
stories because I hadn't completely read my Tacitus this far.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, could I just say before we end the show, I'm kind of glad you didn't, because you would have incorporated the story. You would have went, Ray, I'm going to give you an opportunity to be in my documentary. Oh, that's awesome. I'll do anything you want. Great. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to dress up as Vespasian. You're just going to be an Egyptian peasant, and I'm going to spit in your face. Just take it, love it, rub it all around. And trust me, it's
Yeah.
a part of the story. And
Oh,
I
we
would have
should
went,
have done that.
oh,
Well, as you well know, I did plan to film you for the documentary
that's
in a
true.
bubble bath.
Yes,
In
I was looking forward to that.
Where were we?
Yeah.
North
North
Carolina.
Carolina. North Carolina. Yeah, exactly.
What was the name of that place? Uh,
It was one of the tobacco executives' side
yeah,
apartment that he'd actually never been to because he had so many places. It was his office,
yeah,
something. I
yeah.
don't know. It must be nice. I've got one house and it's barely a one house, so it must be nice. Anyway, I digress.
So, fast forward to Vitellius preparing for his bid against Otho
Right.
after Galba. He releases Syphilis from prison for the second time.
Right.
The Batavi regiments then help Vitellius defeat Otho's forces at the Battle of Bedriacum.
Right.
They're then ordered to return home, but then they receive news of Vespasian, his
Yeah.
mutiny.
Right.
Now, at the same time, Vitellius's governor in Germania Germania Inferior is attempting to conscript more Batavi than allowed by their treaty.
Yes.
And things start to get a little bit fucked up.
Yeah.
There is, let's say, a little bit of diddy going on. It gets a little bit diddy up in Germania Inferior
Too
during
soon.
this period. Yeah. Apparently, my boys tell me now that little bit diddy is acceptable terminology in with the
Oh,
kids.
I'm
It's
learning so much.
shit's
Yeah.
getting a little bit diddy up in here.
I'm
Um,
uncomfortable.
here's what Tacitus has to say. He
Right.
said, by the command of Vitellius, all the Batavian youth was then being summoned to the conscription, a thing
Mm.
naturally vexatious, and which the officials made yet more burdensome by their rapacity and profligacy
Mm.
and their diddiness. He was way ahead of his time.
Wow. I did
While
not know
they
that.
he was not just a historian, he was a prophet. While they selected aged and infirm persons whom they
Right.
might discharge for a consideration, and mere striplings, but of distinguished beauty, and many attain even in boyhood to a noble stature, whom they dragged off for infamous Didiesque purposes.
See, a German will only take that so long before they will organize and come at your ass, not in the good way, with their weapons.
Yeah, well, they were going at the boys' asses, and
Yeah,
it
that's
was
the
like
part of the problem. Yeah.
payback time.
Calm down,
So
Rome.
according to Tacitus,
Yeah.
the Germans were raping Batavian boys and
The
then
Romans,
saying, what did I say? Batavia?
the
Sorry, the
Batavians. Yeah. That's fine.
Romans were
Just making sure.
raping the Batavian
Yeah.
boys
Fagala.
and then sending them off to war. All right.
Right. Okay.
When you can walk again,
Right.
off you go.
Charge.
You're
Yeah.
fine.
You're going to have a slightly different training exercise, but when we're done and I'm asleep, you go off to war, whatever. But no wonder these people are like, you can only take so many indiscretions, insults, whatever the word you want to use. But yeah, everybody has a snapping point. And I think the Batavians are there.
All right. Well, we'll leave it there for today. With there's no better place to leave it than the rape of young boys. I mean, that's if
We're
there's
going
anything
straight to hell. Right. It's called a
If
good
the-
bookmark. Yeah. Yeah.
if there's anything that we've learned over the years that we've been doing this show, it's that
I need a stable of young men to come behind me.
I need a stable of young men to come behind me.
I'm listening.
I need a stable of young men to come behind me.
I need a stable of young men to come behind me. I need a stable of young men to come behind me. Come. That's my favorite.